Welcome to 50 Plus and Flirty. We have this elegant couple here who want to share their story, their love story with you. Welcome, Pierre and Rhonda Jenkins.
Thank you for having us.
This makes me laugh. It makes me giggle just thinking about this topic.
Well, let's go to the beginning. How did you two meet?
Uh-oh, you want the PG version, the real version, or the truth?
We want the truth.
Actually, through mutual Facebook friends.
Oh.
And what happened was, she was at the beauty shop getting her hair done, and it was her birthday in March. So I guess she was inquiring about if she was bringing somebody, and she said, well, there's this guy on Facebook that's been hit me in my DMs. And she said, well, let me see a picture of him.
Wait, we gotta slow you down, because first of all, the lady that was doing my hair said, your hair is gonna be so pretty. You don't have anybody that you're taking tonight to your dinner.
Right.
And it was, like 20 of my closest friends. I said, I don't have anybody. She said, nobody? I said, nobody. She said, are you sure? And I said, girl, no, I don't have any love interest right now. I just want to focus on my kids, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, oh, you know what? There is this guy that, hit me in my inbox. And she said, let me see it. I was like, girl, I don't do outlet. She said, let me see a picture of him. She said, oh, girl, he's fine. I said, girl, I am not interested in somebody that's fine. I'm interested in being happy. And I think the rest is it. So, but then she said, she challenged me. She said, well, tell him that it's your birthday and you're having a dinner. And I did. I said, okay, I'm having a dinner tonight at 7 o'clock with my closest friends. Join us if you can. And
What did you say, Pierre?
Of course, I accepted the invite. And when I got there, I was a little awkward because I didn't know anybody. And she had one of her friends, but he went in protection mode. And I was like, what is this guy? Maybe I just read it wrong, but he was protecting her from me.
So the guy that he's talking about that he thought was my date was my best friend, the late Mansour Walzer. Mm-hmm. And Mansour and I did everything together. We traveled. He was my stylist, my makeup artist, my friend. We traveled. We did all kinds of stuff together. And so because he didn't know Mansour did stand over him and stood over us. It's like, what are you doing here? Like, oh yeah, he went into protective mode. It was funny because he's like, is this your boyfriend? I'm like, no, this is my best friend. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, yes, I'm sure. So it was really funny.
Oh, that is cute. That is so cute. Okay, so what happened next?
Well, continued conversations on the phone. Our first 2 dates were chaperoned by Mansour and his mother.
That's true. That's true. Mansour was like, we got to check it out. And so it's really weird because having gone through, a divorce before, and I was just in this vulnerable state that I said, I want to make sure that my picker is correct, is what I call it. Because a lot of times you're in a vulnerable state, or you may not see what other people see. Mm-hmm. And like back in the days, you would have to bring your boyfriend or your girlfriend home to meet your parents. So Mansour said, I got to go with you to make sure that he ain't going to hurt you. And I said, okay, because that's my boy. Mm-hmm. And then Mommy O was my girl, and she was like, well, if he going, I'm going too. We both got to check him out. So actually, they went on the first 3 dates with us.
Wow.
That was funny.
Yes.
I said, he put up with all of that. We had community dates, which I recommend community dating, right? Or because your friends can kind of pick up on some other kinds of vibes or things that you may miss.
So I'm curious, was the connection instantaneous or did it build?
For me, I think it was a spontaneous reaction. When I first saw her, I saw pictures of her on Facebook and I said, hey, she's beautiful, but in real life, She was everything as far as on the outside. You know, that's where I started. I started on the outside with the looks, and then I was able to, you know, creep into her heart. And she has a good heart. She wasn't stuck on herself. I mean, you actually see she's a beautiful woman. So, you know, some women that look like this, they have attitudes and, you know, you're beneath me and all that other stuff. But she let me get on her level. You know, I had to pick it up a little bit. So, you know, going through some of the things that I went through in relationships, which I explained to her. She explained everything that she went through. And, you know, we both decided, you know, if we're going to do this, we can't have any of that nonsense. And we both didn't want to feel that pain in our hearts what we went through with previous relationships.
So at what phase did the true story come out about past relationships? Was it the first date? Was it the third date? Was it 6 months later?
Oh, that's a good question. So I want you to tell your part, but for me, it was pretty immediate. And to go back to your other question, everybody said that he was fine and he was handsome and but I literally did not see any of that. I did not, nor did I care. I think I was so protective of my heart that I didn't allow myself to see any of that, which was great because, again, I'm not interested. I wasn't interested in that. But what I did immediately like about him is he could crack, I mean, literally, like, if you go back and look at all of our pictures, I mean, I'm always laughing, and I love to laugh more than anything else. And he always just had me cracking up. Right. And that was the one thing that I really liked. And this may sound like a crazy thing, but I'll tell anybody, get somebody that you like and somebody that likes you. Not that you love, somebody that you like and like you. Because sometimes, you know, you can grow to love somebody, or you may be with them for a particular reason. You know, it may be financial, it may be sexual, it may be status or whatever. But at the end of the day, you need somebody that likes you and you like that person. And we generally did like each other, which was cool. I was like, okay, I kind of like him. But the other part for me was that I told him I'm not in a hurry. I mean, I was blessed enough to, you know, be able to take care of me and my children. Mm-hmm. And I set out some pretty hard ground rules for him that, like, you can't come over when my children are here. I had a long list of stuff that he was kind enough to adhere to. But, and I said, you can take it or leave it. It's your choice. Like, I don't need the aggravation. And I was pretty blunt with him. I said, I've been through a lot. I don't need the aggravation. So these are kind of like my standards. I think a lot of times you may change or bend a little. And I think you do have to be flexible. But we had some like deal breakers, like straight up front, that we agreed to. What were some of our deal breakers? What's the main deal breaker?
Cheating. I think that was the number one thing. Cheating. Mm-hmm. You know, we weren't going to have that. And another thing I had to issue was respecting, you know, that she had kids, because I have 2 kids of my own from a previous marriage. And my kids are grown, but her kids were young, so I had to respect the space. Mm-hmm. There were times that, you know, at this time she was living in Sugar Land, and I lived way over there off I-10 off C.E. King. So I'll go back and forth. I think I went back and forth so much I can tell you how many white lines are from that street all the way to Sugar Land. So, you know, and she's right. I wouldn't. And if I did come over there when the kids were there, I wouldn't stay. I'd go back home, you know. So, you know, it was something you had to deal with, and that's something, you know, when you're getting ready to date somebody that has younger children, especially, you have to be conscious of that, because you can ruin your relationship if you're jealous of the kids or you feel like they're getting in the way. So it took the kids a little while. You know, one of the twins used to stand between us.
That's true.
You actually stand between us when we were together. So, you know, it did bother me a little bit, but as time went on, she got used to me being around. And there were times, like, I know the days that their dad was going to pick them up, and I was waiting for her to get off work. I'd be in the driveway, but I would never go in the house, because that's one thing that we discussed. Said I would not go in the house, especially with them being girls. I stayed in the driveway until she got home. So, that's just some of the boundaries that we had to work through.
Well, and so his kids were in high school, and mine were in elementary. And so I was very clear that I didn't want to bring, a man over them or have that kind of. So whenever we did interact with the children, it was either over dinner or we had game night, or it was cooking or fun pizza. And one day we did lifting weights, because of course he works out. But I mean, we just tried to have fun, but we incorporate them into everything. But it's funny that he would say, remember that the twin that stood between us is my daughter Rachel. And Rachel is the same person who told us that we needed to get married, which was so weird. It was like, okay. Because Rachel's like, Mommy, you and Pierre need to get married. I'm like, Rachel, I said, I am not interested in getting married. I said, I've been married before. I said, but Rachel, what I really want to do is be happy. And Rachel looked at me and said, Mommy, you can be married and happy at the same time. And I was like, wow. I hadn't even, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody kept saying, well, why aren't y'all getting married? And I was like, nope. Where we are enjoying each other. We're having a good time. I enjoyed being dated because, he opened the car doors. My girls knew to sit in the car. We wouldn't, he's opening doors, closing doors, putting in chairs, bringing out chairs, just really, really showing us how it is to be treated like a lady, which was really important for me. And I'm like, child, I just want to stay in this space. But I didn't realize that, and I had a lot of people asking us about getting married. And I'm like, no, I'm good. And so I said, well, Rachel, why do you think we should get married? She's like, Mommy, number one, you're not getting any younger, and neither is Pierre.
Right.
She said, and he looks so sad when he has to go home. And Mommy, you're not the same when he's not here. You're not happy either. And I'm like, no, I'm not. She's like, yes, Mommy, you're not the same. So
That's
yeah.
And
That's good stuff.
Right. And going back to the car door opening, because actually I'm from Killeen, Texas, so I'm a military brat, and that's something that I saw my dad do with my mom. So I had to, I don't want to use the word train, but I had to train them, because they would always, I said, when they would open their door, I said, everybody close your door. I had to make them close their door, and I had to wait. I said, y'all don't touch door handles. I touch the door handles. So I actually would open her door, or if I get out of my side, if one of the twins is on this side, I'd go around, open her door, open the other twin's door, and open their door. So I just was showing, that's how you need to be treated. I mean, for some people that's not necessary, but for me, that's the way I want to treat them.
Oh, wow. That's huge. Okay. So I found out when she had that discussion with you. When did you share your past relationships with her?
Oh, well, it wasn't that far into the relationship. I didn't want to hide anything. I wanted to put it out on the table. I've been married. Actually, since we're talking about this,
Don't tell everything, baby.
No, I'm going to tell it all.
Don't tell everything, baby.
No,
Don't tell everything.
Okay.
Don't let the people know everything.
Okay. Well, it's
We're
Go ahead, honey.
we're
Go ahead, tell
here,
Yeah, okay.
and we've got open ears.
Right. I had a previous relationship with a woman that had 2 daughters, and that's kind of where the relationship helped me with this one, because
It wasn't a relationship. You were married to her.
I was married to her.
Yeah,
right.
that's right.
I was married to her, but that situation helped me with this situation, because I had situations with her where her baby's father would be in my house. She's not home, but his daughter's in there, picking her up, and I go turn my key. Door doesn't open, so I knock on the door, and he opens my door. So I said, look, I'm not going to say her name. I said, look, you need to tell him that you're married now. You can no longer do this. Oh, something's wrong with you. You got a problem. I said, okay. I said, I'll tell you what, if this happens again, I don't know how it's going to turn out. So a few months later, I get off work. He opens my door again. So I'm so hot, I just beeline to my room, right? Because I'm a police officer, I got my police gear on. Mind's not thinking straight because I'm tired of this guy being in my house when I'm at home, and the wife at the time, she thinks something's wrong with me because I think like that. So that situation helped me with this. I didn't have to really go through any drama like that. I never gave her really any baby mama drama. So for me, I mean, some people can accept that, but I'm a jealous person. I don't want you in my house, So, I had to live through that, which I said again, it helped me with this relationship. Just dealing with the girls, because I told them, said, look, especially when we got married and we bought the house, I told them, you always need to be decent in this house. You're not going to walk through here with towels on you. However you used to do with your mom, you cannot no longer do that. When I come out of my room, I'm fully dressed, shirt, pants, whatever. There's none of that. So.
Well, it even goes further than that. He still does not even go in their rooms. He just stands in the hallway and he'll say, hey, y'all want something to eat?
Right.
Or he'll text them. I'm like, or he'll text me the car. I said, like, y'all live in the same house. We all live in the same house. Raquel's like, is he going to ever, give us, a real hug? He does the Baptist hug. He's like, no, I don't want you. So we have really, I appreciate him and his line of work. He's seen a lot being a police officer. A lot of people in law enforcement have gotten, a lot of, bad press. Bonus dads and stepdads have gotten a lot of bad press. So we just wanted to take it slow and easy, which I think worked for us.
It does an old girl's heart good to see that. So let's talk a little bit about romance.
Ooh! Make sure you're ready for that.
Yes, we're ready for that. Okay. So I like you, you like me. So how did you express that initially in the relationship?
Well, if I can say this, can I talk about the sexless part?
Yeah.
Well, she told me that she had been in a sexless marriage for 7 years, and she said she asked God for somebody like me, which I'm a stone cold freak. So she got what she wanted. I'm just gonna be truthful. So we've had good sexual experiences with each other, and still going in for the first, probably for the first 3 years, none of it was never the same. It was like, we would talk about that, and we have this thing where, like today, driving over.
Okay.
Because we had an episode last night, she cut the radio off. Give me your top 3. That's what we always do after we have a sexual encounter or a love making encounter. Give me your top 3, and we'll talk about it. So I think that's really spicy just to talk about. Instead of just doing it and not never saying anything again about it, we always talk about it.
Well, that is sweet.
And it's sometimes his top 3 was pretty much my top 3 too. But I will tell you, keeping the romance, first of all, I'll back up and say that when you're over 50, there's a different kind of thing, right? You know what works. You know what does not work. You also have to trust your partner. And the fact that we very early on said our deal breaker was, no cheating. Like any rims of that is like, we're out of here. So that alone gives you a level of freedom to express and be expressed and to be loved. A couple of years ago, I was headed to Catalina Island. I guess it was 2023 on a vacation. And we had a connecting flight through Phoenix, and I had a girlfriend that went with me. I got off the plane, and this lady was like, hey, Queen! And I'm like, okay, she's a 6-foot lady. And I'm like, okay. But he has shown my picture and talked about me so much on social media that everybody knows me as Queen. And to know that somebody openly loves you that way and has expressed it to other people, it just makes it even greater. Mm-hmm. And so he's the same way in private that he is in public. What I appreciate about him is, a lot of people say, oh, well, Pierre's really slow. So we have a different temperament. He's really, really slow. And I tell everybody he's slow where it counts. That's all that you need to know. Because he takes his time. He's not in a hurry. But I think because we trust each other. Mm-hmm. One thing that we've talked about that I think is really important that I want our audience to hear is I think it's sad that you have sex workers and prostitutes or people that go out and cheat, and it's because they don't trust their mate enough to tell what their real sexual desires or experiences are. So if you want your toe turned 5 times, there's somebody that can turn your toe 5 times. Or you can trust your mate enough to say, honey, I really like the way you turn my toe. Turn my toe 5 times and you got a deal. Right. But if you don't ever feel free enough to express that, and then some people may be a little shy. Mm-hmm. I know that through childbirth, through sickness and illness and weight gain and all kinds of stuff. Right. I could say the way that I show up now is way different than I showed up 20 years ago or 10 years ago. I'm not the same lady that I was when I had toddler 2-year-olds because I didn't wear heels. Mm-hmm. I didn't have time for heels. I was busy, right? I didn't have time to put on lashes and do whatever. I took the path of least resistance so I could get to work, pick up the kids, do the job. There's a lot of, and there still are a lot of moving plates, right? But in order to really keep the romance going and things like that, you have to really show up differently and feel different about yourself. But yeah, he's really good.
Let's talk a little bit, Pierre, about physical attraction, because you first saw her on Facebook, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you see?
I saw nothing but pure beauty. From the outside looking in. And then when I actually saw her for the first time, I was like really attracted to her physically. But going through what I've been through, I still wasn't sure where this was going. It was like the first date. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you would call it a date. She just invited me to her birthday party. Mm-hmm. But the next couple of dates that we had, the more I got into the inside, and I just was no longer looking at the outside. So it matched. The inside matched the outside. So that was a plus for me.
So let's talk a little bit about something I know about her. Mm-hmm. When did she let on that she could cook?
I think that was kind of early on. Like I said, I didn't have any. First couple of dates weren't at her house, she wasn't having that. But when she finally did, I'm trying to remember. Do you remember the first dish that you cooked that I ate at your house? I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, she had me hooked. She can go.
I used to have her every year on my birthday drive all the way from where she was to bring me her gumbo because it's just that good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that gumbo is something to turn a cartwheel for.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yes. And what characteristic about Pierre was the game changer for you, Rhonda?
His honesty and loyalty and truthfulness. And you kind of get what you see. I was in a different circle than Pierre was in, and he was like, hey, you get what you get. And so we've it's almost a melange, right? Where we've married and intersected. We've had to be flexible with each other. We've had to grow together. But we weren't afraid I think the purity of his heart, and this is something I'll have to share, that when I met Pierre and I said, and I was a fireball child, I was like, listen, you're not going to hurt me, blah, 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 blah. And I said to him, I said, ooh, I'm going to go through your phone. I said, and I'm going to be checking your messages. And he said, hold on. Here's the key to my house. Here's my phone. Here's a code to my phone. He said, you don't have to check me. He said, I'm here with you because I want to be. You don't have to regulate me. I'm self-regulated. And honey, you talking about shame, shocked, and cold embarrassed. I was like, but Pierre is one of the first men, the only men to ever tell me that I was perfect. Like, I didn't need to lose weight. Like, I'm like, okay, because I do the Daniel fast. I do, which is spiritual for me. I'm exercising, trying to such and such. And he was like, you don't need to lose the weight. You just the way you are is perfect. I'm like, but let me show you a picture when I was 200 pounds. He was like, girl, I would have took you then at 200 pounds. You just more than love. It's still cute. He was like, that doesn't matter to me. You're perfect the way you are. I have to tell this story. It's so funny because, like, I do my eyebrows and put on lashes and all this business. And so he's like, you don't have to do all that for me. And I'm like, yes, I do. So I told him, I said, I wanted to get my eyebrows tattooed. And I was close to it. I made the appointment. And I was going to surprise him. And I said, I'm going tomorrow to get my eyebrows tattooed. He said, girl, you're perfect the way you are. Just leave. First he asked me, he said, well, is it because you don't want to do it or it's too much money? Like, what's your reason for wanting to get a tattoo? Because I can never get them straight. Da, da, da. He was like, girl, they going to have you looking like Bozo the Clown. He said, don't you touch a thing on your face. I love you just the way you are. You need to get up early and figure out how to do your eyebrows, but tattooing is out. I was like, oh, okay. But it was like, he told me, no, don't touch anything on my face. I was like, really? He's like, so anyway, I was like, it sure is good to have somebody tell you perfect just the way you are. I was like, okay.
So Pierre, I have one more question for you. When did you know that marriage was the only way that you wanted to go?
Oh, well, that took me a while. But after seeing how she was with my mom, and she treats my kids like they're her own, and I said, you know what, this is somebody that I can spend the rest of my life with, because and you ought to see how she takes care of my mom. Mom will be 95 in March, and she makes sure my mom doesn't go without anything. I mean, food, toiletries. She's on the phone making orders. Mom, what do you need? So once I saw all of that, that was the break for me. Because sometimes people don't treat your children, the way you think they should, and vice versa. But that's what sold me. The way she treated me, my kids, my mom, and the way I see her treat her own kids, because she make sure they have everything that they need, and she's a very caring person, a very caring heart, and that's what I love about her.
And what is it that you love about Pierre?
I love everything about Pierre. I think it's his heart, and I'm pulling him along, and he's pulling me along. But I think what I know, what I like about us in this space and in this season is that we're patient with each other. And for the first time, I realized, well, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. Sometimes my delivery may not be the best, but I remember Pierre saying to us early on is that we have to talk to each other kindly. We have to be nice to each other. And that really does speak volumes, because when you're tired, when you're hungry, when you're, had a long day at work or whatever those issues are, and sometimes you bring that stuff home, and sometimes the pressures are just a lot. But I know that, like, when I do events or when I'm preparing, he knows. He'll say, "Oh Lord, she got that look in her." I mean, I go into it like almost a beast mode, and he knows it's like, okay, don't go ahead.
I mean, that's true. When we're having some type of event at the house, she's up extra early. I'm still in the bed. She walks by me. She doesn't say anything. She just looks at me like, I know you see me up doing stuff, and you're still in the bed. So I know what I'm doing. I know how to time myself with preparing food, because I didn't cook too.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in our house can cook, but you know, and sometimes I have to tell her, you know, we're saying now, but you know, do we have spats? Yes, we do. But then I will tell her, I say, hey, we're not being kind to each other.
Oh.
And she'll say, you know what? You're absolutely right. We're not being kind to each other. So we got to check each other when we, you know, have a disagreement or whatever. And for me, sometimes I'll tell her, if we get mad at each other about something, she wants to talk like right then. And depending on what was said, I'll just give me some time. I'll go off to myself and I'll sit for a minute, because I don't want to, in the heat of the moment, I don't want to say the wrong thing. So I need to go sit down somewhere and just be quiet and just gather my thoughts. So when I come back to her, I'm coming back with love. I'm not coming back with no drama. And that's a lot of times when I say, hey, we're not being kind to each other. And then we'll start off, we'll talk about what she wants to talk about or what I want to talk about. But we'll do it in love, not at each other's throats. So.
That is so nice.
Well, like I told her, these same little lips that bring pleasure can do some other stuff too. The wrong words can come out of there.
Right.
You know, and so my brother said this, and it sounds crazy, but it's true. He said, you know, words are like toothpaste. Once they go out, they cannot come back in. And so we really, I know, having, and I used to tell people, I said, well, they said, well, how long have you guys been married? I said, well, we have about 30 years of experience where we've been married to other people.
Right.
So we've been married about 30 years, just not to each other.
Right.
Because, you know, you think about what did you learn out of, you know, the past relationship. And what I know is that there's some folks who can bring out the absolute best in you.
Mm-hmm.
And some people who can bring out the worst in you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm grateful that Pierre, you know, the scripture says iron sharpens iron, but Pierre brings the best out in me. I laugh because I told him, and it's true and he'll see it, I said, you know, I thrive and I soar with love. Mm. My kids said, Mommy, how do you keep doing this? You're 40 years older than us, and you... I said, because I am motivated and fueled by love. But if I feel disenfranchised, if my feelings are hurt, or if I'm not, I feel loved the way I need it to be loved, or it's not expressed in the way, I told him everything stops. And so when you think about marriage and relationships, a lot of people check out, but they still keep showing up in the relationship, and they're still there because, for whatever those reasons are, finances or whatever. But I don't want to check out, right? We just have to make sure that we still keep being kind to each other and have fun while we do it.
And I think, no, I'd be willing to bet some money that that's going to be there forever for you two. And you know why I say that? I see the building blocks of a grand relationship, how things are kind of going through an evolutionary process. And that's a wonderful thing because you're always discovering. So I want to say thank you so much for agreeing to do this video, because it's never too late to find love.
Never too late.
And you know what? Can we close this out with a kiss?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, it's on you guys.
All right, hey, baby.